Hi, Thomas. Thanks for being here to answer our questions about the documentary One More Step West is the Sea, Ruth Weiss. So, first question, how did you come up with the idea of filming a documentary about Ruth?
I met Ruth Weiss personally the first time in 2012, and from that moment on, met her frequently in Vienna and California at her home in Albion in Northern California. And I developed the idea to write a biography about her at some point, and after that, I thought it would be a good idea to also film interviews when I'm visiting her. And out of that, the idea came up to do this documentary and put her life into scene.
Second question, how was filming the documentary? You basically made a road trip through the United States, and was it a challenge for you filming that?
It was a challenge combined with pleasure because the first idea was to follow Ruth's biography from New York in 1938 via Chicago and New Orleans in the late 40s, early 50s. And then she moved to San Francisco by hitchhiking from New Orleans to San Francisco. So the idea was to follow this path and film along the way. But during the project and during filming with Ruth, it was I realized that it is maybe a better idea to do this whole thing like a collage, because that was also how she worked. So how I edited the film was actually a resemblance of her way of making art.
And how was filming with Ruth? How was you working together with Ruth?
I think that happened on multiple levels. We did a lot of interview sessions, but then I also filmed a couple of performances of her. And during the process, she got more and more involved in the thing that I was doing. So she basically gave suggestions also how to put that whole thing together, more or less like a collage.
Fourth question. How would you describe Ruth as an artist?
Well, for Ruth, it was always clear that she was a poet. She considered herself being a poet since she was a child, actually, and writing poetry all her life. But she did a lot of other things, like developing jazz and poetry in the late 1940s. She also painted. She made a film of her own in 1961, The Brink, and to her, this all was kind of an extension of her work as a poet. So the film is a poetic film. Her performances were, her poetry is in the center of her performances with jazz musicians. And so it was important to me to get all this into the film and show how she worked with different musicians. Showing excerpts of the film, also showing some of her paintings. So in the end, the whole documentary turned out to be a big, giving the big picture of her life and works. And it was very important for me also to catch her on a personal level, to show how the person Ruth Weiss, the individual, was.
How does her work reflect in the documentary?
A good example is The Brink, her film, and a key moment in the documentary was when she told in an interview how she made this film, because she said she wasn't originally a filmmaker, she was a poet, but she wanted to make this film. And so she just went out to make this film. And for me, it was important to also quite do this whole documentary, film it quite spontaneously, and go out there, film whatever get into my mind that may be a good thing to have in the film. And basically cut it at the editing table and make a piece of art out of it.
In which way do you think Ruth's work and legacy lay path for female artists nowadays?
I think she was very inspiring, just following her own path. And recently she was, for example, described by a critic as a proto-feminist artist. Well, the thing is, in the 1950s and the 1960s in the United States, it was not very easy for a female poet to be acknowledged. And maybe what Ruth's life shows it is that no matter how difficult it is to get your voice out there, you just follow your own inner voice and do consequently what you're supposed to do, and in the end it pays out.